What's going on, everybody? My name is Monatui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our team builder for Week 1 of Season 4 of the Pokemon Premier League. I'm very excited to get this stuff started. I've been looking forward to the PPL starting up again ever since the Community Shield done back in D2 Season 2. That did not go so well for us. If you want to see that match, go check out Trav, or don't, because I don't want you to see it. Anyway, that was an awkward intro, but we're going to keep it. Our opponent for Week 1 is none other than Schady, coach of the Bayern Mewnich. He is a very good friend of mine. He is a very good battler as well. He has a very scary team, and he definitely knows how to use it. I'm really looking forward to this battle. Kind of sucks that I have to play Schady without having the ability to have broken in my team yet. This is the first time I am building with this team, first time I'm going to be using this team, first time I'm going to be using some of these Mons. A lot of these different sets are new to me, but regardless, it is a learning process. Let's definitely make sure we do our best in this match. Let's make sure we get the most out of the team, which I think I've been able to do with the team of 6 that I will be bringing versus him. But before we get into that, let's just go over Shady's roster. His roster consists of Clefable, Nidoqueen, Latias, which is a disgusting trio. He's got Rotom Wash, Lucario, which is a huge threat, Sneasel, Gourgeist, Armaldo, Mega Pidgeot, and Simisear. So, threats against my team, definitely the Clefable. Clefable's always a threat. T-waving things is annoying. It can be a setup sweeper as well. It can do both at the same time if he wants to run mono attacking Moonblast, so I don't think he will because I have Fortress. Nidoqueen is definitely a problem, though I definitely have switches to it. Latias can be annoying. Rotom Wash is a very big annoyance to my team. Lucario is probably the biggest threat. Like, depending on the set, it can just depending on the set, it can tear through my team. It can be special, it can be physical, it can be mixed, it can be set up, could just be like Scarf or Banded or whatever. Sneasel, same thing. Even though I know what it's going to do, it's going to be hard for me to stop it. Gourgeist can be annoying, and Mega Pidgeot, of course, I have like one decent switch into, and then that's it. My team's kind of weak to flying. And then after that, Simisear, which funnily enough is actually a pretty big threat to my team with its move coverage and speed tier and whatnot. So his team's definitely very threatening. However, like I said, I believe I've built a team of 6 that will be able to take on whatever combination of Mons he decides to bring. And without further ado, let's get into that team right now. So starting off, we're going to start off relatively simple. We have a mixed defensive Piloswine, of course, holding the Eviolite with Thick Fat, Earthquake, Ice Shard, Toxic, and Stealth Rock. Earthquake and Ice Shard hit his entire team other than the Rotom Wash, which is why Toxic is there, because Rotom Wash is one of the best switch-ins to Piloswine he has. I will be able to get a Toxic off onto that thing, put it on a timer. Clefable is also more than likely going to be unaware so that he can deal with a setup Altaria or with a Terrakion, like a setup Terrakion. Can kind of deal with Yanmega, even like a setup Thundurus, since I know he is going to not want to be swept by that once again. So I'm thinking an unaware Clefable, even if it's Magic Art, I do have my responses to it, but unaware is better for me because I will be able to status it. I'm not bringing a lot of setup on this team. In fact, I'm bringing only one setup mon of my possible 6 here, even though a lot of them have the options to set up. But regardless, Toxic is going to be really nice for that, also to hit the Gourgeist, since Ice Shard will not be doing a lot of damage to that, especially if he is able to burn me. Piloswine's investment here, it can take any one hit, bar like an Adamant Life Orb close combat from Lucario, and even then I think it's a roll. And I will be able to set up my Stealth Rocks or get off and attack onto something. The Spadef is here so that I can take on the Nidoqueen as best as possible. I can not to a KO by Mega Pidgeot. I can take a Hydro Pump from Rotom Wash. I can take hits from the Clefable for days. So this is just a very nice bulky mon for his team. Takes hits from a plethora of different things. Can set up rocks, get off a Toxic, or just attack whatever is in front of me, which is really nice because ground ice coverage versus his team is actually very nice. If he doesn't bring Rotom Wash, I can just spam Earthquake plus Ice move against his entire team and deal some nice damage. But regardless, this thing's main job is just to get a Stealth Rock. Chip damage on his team is going to be very big for my Yanmega, as well as my Mew, Thundurus, Altaria. Pretty much everything else on my team appreciates having rocks up on his side of the field, so that is this thing's main job. But with that being said, let us now move on to the next mon on our team. We are bringing Yanmega, definitely a very interesting set, but I came up with this idea a while ago in the, actually a while ago in the No Pause tournament that I ended up winning when I had Yanmega, and I think that similar set is going to work very nicely here. We have a Choice Scarf, Modest, Tinted Lens, Yanmega, I meant Rash, sorry, Rash, because we're running U-turn and our split F is terrible anyway. We're not taking a lot of hits there regardless. We have Bug Buzz, Air Slash, U-turn, and Tailwind. Now, the only reason I have Tailwind there is in case I need it in, like, an emergency situation. Like, I'm gonna go down this turn, I need something to get fast, and I just click Tailwind, and then I die, and then I send in, like, something like my Altaria to outspeed his team and get a hurting off. Really, the only two moves I'm going to be clicking during this game are Bug Buzz and U-turn. Air Slash might become useful. I'm not entirely sure how useful. Like I said, with Tinted Lens, Bug Buzz becomes neutral versus pretty much everything neutral or super effective. It is technically resisted by the Lucario, but it still takes about 40% from a modest Bug Buzz, so there's absolutely no point for him to switch in Lucario on this thing. I still do plenty of damage to that regardless. U-turn is also there just so, like, suppose it's Yanmega versus Clefable, I can't knock it out, I don't want to take a Moonblast, don't want to get T-Waved, I can just U-turn on out, which is going to be very nice. And with the Tinted Lens, U-turn is boosted as well. I can possibly gauge what kind of EV spread the Clefable is going to have, which is very nice. I 2 a KO pretty much everything on his team with this set, bar with Bug Buzz, bar possibly the Nidoqueen, possibly the Clefable, and then possibly the Lucario. But like I said, Lucario does not have recovery and is not going to want to switch in on this thing. Nidoqueen does not have recovery, and Clefable, if it's fully physically defensive, I will be able to 2 a KO, and I'm kind of expecting that because I do have things like Terrakion that can kind of hurt his team a lot, even though, as you can see, I'm not bringing Terrakion. I could bring it, and he's going to want to be prepared for that, which is really nice. But regardless, Yanmega is going to be my late game cleaner for this game. I hope to send this in late game, have everything weakened, and then I can just spam Bug Buzz in order to knock everything out. So that is our Yanmega set. After that, let us now move on to our Thundurus Incarnate. We are running an Assault Vest Thundurus, and that is because he has a Mega Pidgeot, which is very scary for my team. I don't have great switch-ins to that thing whatsoever. Like, I can build a Mew for it, but I think Mew has different potential for this team. Can build like a bulky Altaria, but same thing, I think that has more potential. And Thundurus actually functions really well as an Assault Vest user this game. I'm running max speed, timid max speed, so that I can outspeed Latias by 1 point if he decides to bring a max speed Latias. With the special attack investment I have being max, and then the move coverage, I hit pretty much everything on his team super effectively, other than the Armaldo, which I can 2 a KO anyway, the Simisear, which I 2 a KO anyway, and the Rotom Wash, which I will be able to get some nice damage on anyway. So, Thunderbolt, Dark Pulse, Sludge Wave, Psychic. Psychic eliminates Nidoqueen as a good switch-in, Sludge Wave eliminates Clefable as a good switch-in, Thunderbolt for general stab and his only immunity being Nidoqueen, Dark Pulse to 2 a KO things like the Gourgeist or the Latias that may want to switch in onto my Thundurus. So this is a very, very good mod for his team. Can definitely apply some good pressure to his team. Nidoqueen cannot knock me out with the Sheer Force boosted Ice Beam, even if it is Life Orbed, and I will be able to 2 a KO that thing with a Psychic before it 2 a KOs me. It can take any hit from Lucario, even at +2. I can take an E-Speed, I believe, unless he's like Adamant Life Orb, which I don't think he's going to be because he doesn't want to risk being slower than my Altaria, but regardless, I will be able to take a hit from that. I can take an Ice Shard from Sneasel if I have to. Also, as you can see, we're running Defiant with no physical attacks. That's because, obviously, with Assault Vest, I'm not running any non-attacking moves, so I don't have any need for Prankster, and Defiant may be able to throw him off. Suppose I switch into something like his Latias as he goes for a Defog, and I get a Defiant boost. He's going to be really paranoid, and he may want to go out into something like his Clefable that can take a knockoff, take a Wild Charge, whatever. It can even take an Iron Tail, depending on the investment. And then I can just possibly 2 a KO it with the Sludge Wave. So, this is a very big threat to his team. I'm really looking forward to using it. Again, it does not have recovery, so if he wears it down enough, he can clean up my team with Mega Pidgeot, but I'm going to do my best to ensure that that doesn't happen. I do have priority on this team. I do have a Scarfer that outspeeds it and gets nice damage off onto it, and I do have my Assault Vest Thunder, so I'm hoping Mega Pidgeot doesn't become too big of an issue. So, with that out of the way, let us now move on to the next member of our team, and this one I had a lot of trouble building with. I flip-flop the set constantly, I change it around a lot, I may even change it before the match, who knows, but regardless, we are running a Life Orb offensive Skuntank, physically offensive with Crunch, Poison Jab, Sucker Punch, and Defog. I want to Defog just so that my Yanmega can play this game hazards-free, which is very nice, just so I don't have to take that hazard damage. Of course, being 4 times weak to it, same thing with Thundurus and Altaria before Mega evolves. Crunch is just very nice, of course. Dark is a very spammable move, does nice damage to a lot of different things, does like 40% to Lucario, which is very nice because it will not be able to take 2 crunches plus Sucker Punch, and he will not be able to take Crunch, Sucker Punch plus Aftermath if it is a physical variant, which is very nice. I will be able to 2 KO the Gourgeist, so I'll get some nice damage on the Mega Pidgeot, Armaldo, Simisear, etc. just with my stabs. Not running Pursuit because since we are an offensive variant, I'm not going to necessarily want to switch into Latias unless I know he's going for a Psychic move. But regardless, Sucker Punch is just nice for that as well. Can pick that off before it tries to hit me or before it hits me. Poison Jab just straight up, it has a chance to knock out the Clefable, but it's a guaranteed to a KO no matter his spread, which is very nice. And the big reason I wanted to be offensive on this Skuntank instead of something like a supportive or Spadef set to trap Latias is because I am running, or Nidoqueen is a free switch into Skuntank every time, if that's the case. Like, it can tank crunches easily, it can just click Earth Power versus me, get up rocks, get up T-Spikes or something like that, so it's going to be very difficult for me to deal with his Nidoqueen otherwise, but depending on his spread, I can 2 KO him. It'll probably end up being a 3 KO though, just because Nidoqueen's very bulky and he's going to have some bulk investment to take on my Altaria better, but regardless, I at least will be able to more than likely outspeed him and be able to get off some nice damage onto it before it gets up its rocks or before it hits me with an Earth Power. So that's that. That is our Skuntank, hoping to have this thing put in work. I might regret not having Flamethrower to hit the Lucario, but this is the set I'm going to go with. Hopefully it works out for me. Next up, let us move on to our Mega Altaria. We're running a specially offensive Mega Altaria with Hyper Voice, Ice Beam, Roost, and Sub. Sub is nice just because I can sub up versus things like the Rotom Wash. I can sub up versus a Latias that is forced out, a Gourgeist as long as it does not have Sludge Bomb, things like that, Simisear without Gunk Shot, etc. This is a very nice bomb for his team. With this spread, I will be able to outspeed a modest Nidoqueen, which is great. And Hyper Voice Ice Beam hits pretty much everything on his team for a 2 KO. There's nothing that wants to switch into this other than a somewhat specially defensive Clefable. And even then, like, Hyper Voice is going to do around half. I can get a free switch out into my Piloswine to Toxicate if it's unaware, or just set up rocks. I can go out into my Skuntank to threaten it with a Poison Jab. So this is just a very, very big threat to his team in general. Hyper Voice Ice Beam is great coverage for his team, like I said. Roost as well to keep myself healthy. I'm not O-code by a lot. I can take Ice Beam from Latias, can take Moonblast from Clefable if I have to, can take Sludge Wave from non-Life Orb Nidoqueen, can take Ice Shard from Sneasel, Bullet Punch from Lucario, etc. So he's got to weaken this a lot before he can pick me off with priority, or just a faster Mon, which is really, really nice. And yeah, there's not a ton to go over with this thing. I do have Natural Cure before I Mega Evolve in case I can, like, switch into Gourgeist, get burnt, switch out, etc., things like that. But like I said, Hyper Voice just 2 KOs everything on his team, bar like the Nidoqueen, which I will be able to 2 KO with the Ice Beam. So that is our Mega Altaria. Also, something I want to mention, he's probably not going to have Yache Berry on Nidoqueen expecting this. He'd probably have something like Shuca Berry so he can take a +2 Earthquake from me, but we are not bringing a Dragonite set. We are just bringing a fully specially offensive Modest set that really breaks through his team very nicely. So that is our Mega Altaria. Let us now move on to probably the trickiest set that I had to come up with for this game, and that is going to be our Mew. So we were running a Colbur Berry Mew. I originally had leftovers so I could deal with like switching into Draco's a little bit better, get some recovery, Moonlight, or Roost up, get some more recovery, and things like that, but I like the Colbur Berry so that I can take a hit from the Sneasel and then knock it out with +2 Gunk Shot. I can also take a +2 Dark Pulse or Crunch from the Lucario, depending on whether he's physically or specially offensive. Synchronize is nice in case he decides to status me with anything. Like, if Gourgeist burns me, at least keeps getting burnt back. If Clefable wants to T-Wave me, it's getting T-Waved back, things like that. So that's really, really nice. Our move pool, Zen Headbutt, Gunk Shot, hit pretty much his entire team. Like, there's nothing that resists both of those moves, which is really nice. The Gunk Shot is an easy 2 KO on the Clefable, which is really nice. Zen Headbutt 2 KOs the Nidoqueen and hits pretty much everything else on his team. SD and Soft Boiled are also pretty big. This is a very nice setup sweeper versus his team because it sets up on a good number of things. It sets up on the Clefable, even if it's unaware. Like I said, I can 2-shot it. I don't care how many combines he gets up. Unless he's like at +6 and can knock me out. I can set up versus the Latias, which is really good. Set up versus the Nidoqueen. Can set up versus the Rotom, the Lucario, possibly the Mega Pidgeot, depending on its spread. Probably not because Hurricane's going to hurt, but possibly. So this just sets up versus a very good number of things on his team. With this attack investment, I am guaranteed a 2 KO, or at least I'm very close to a guaranteed 2 KO on fully physically defensive Bold Clefable, which is really, really nice. Clefable, like I said, is a big threat to my team, depending on its EV spread, its set, whether it's set up or not. So yeah, there's that. This much speed allows me to outspeed, I believe, an Adamant Lucario, which is really, really nice, being able to outspeed that. Again, I'm thinking he's going to bring Timid or Jolly, but in case he brings Adamant, I'll be able to outspeed that and knock it out with the +2 Zen Headbutt, which is great. Also, with that amount of HP, I am not 2 KO'd by anything Latias can do, bar possibly like a Life Orb Shadow Ball, and even then he's wearing himself down. I can continuously click Roost. I'll be getting back about the same amount of HP that I'm losing. Also, if he clicks Shadow Ball versus my Skuntank, he's going to Fear Pursuit, and then that becomes a 50-50. I'm not 2 KO'd by Draco Meteor, which is great, unless, like, once again, he has Life Orb. And even then, I can take advantage of his Latias going for Draco by going into my Mega Altaria after I Mega Evolve. So I have options with this thing versus his team. I think I'm going to be able to put myself in a position to set up with it, especially because he has to pick what he wants as his initial switch in, and if he picks wrong based on my set, then he's going to be in a bad spot. Like, if I set up an SD as he sends in his Latias or something like that, he might fear something like a knockoff or even a Sucker Punch that would be able to knock him out, and he may switch out into something that can take it, but if I fire back with a Gunk Shot as like his Clefable comes in, then it's going to be 2 KO'd. It is just a very nice mon for his team. It's going to surprise him. He's going to have no idea what I am until he sees my full set. And even then, it's going to be very tough for him to deal with, because like I said, Psychic Poison coverage versus his team is just great. So, that is the team builder. I am hoping you guys are looking forward to the match. It will be up on Monday, because we have Monday as our upload day now. So once again, thank you guys very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Check out Schady in the description below. He has his own YouTube channel. Of course, he uploads his PPL matches there. Once again, he's a very good friend of mine, very good guy. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.